and welcome to Thinking is Free, proudly brought to you by Chinmaya Mission New Zealand.
Hariom everyone, welcome back. My name is Akash and in the studio we have Ishaanji and Pooja.
Hariom.
Hariom.
Happy Diwali!
Happy Diwali!
Happy Diwali to everyone.
I hope everyone's enjoying the time with their family, using this time as a time to reflect and just enjoying the celebrations, you know.
And the sweets. And the food.
And the fireworks,
Well,
colours.
not
The
so much. Not so much fireworks, but it's literally burning money, I feel. Not to mention the pollution. Well, sorry to be a downer, but
we just came in, we started, let's celebrate, and
Let's
this guy's
celebrate.
like, nah, no celebration, sorry.
except for fireworks, I think Diwali is great.
Well, light the candles, all right?
Yes, the diyas, the lamps, yes.
I think, just covering and just starting off, you know, we highlighted the things that we normally or generally tend to do through the day-to-day of the celebrations. You know, but I think what'd be important or what'd be nice to discuss actually is the spiritual significance, the significance behind Diwali and why we celebrate Diwali, what it represents.
Yep.
You know, because there's a lot more meaning to it than just dressing up in new clothes,
Yeah.
sharing meals, putting up a photo of the family, of your celebration, lighting the diyas, you know.
Yep.
Where do we start? Pooja?
Yeah, I guess I can just talk a little bit about like maybe what my family does and what I've like kind of associated Diwali with. Diwali was always like a new clothes, new everything. Like it was always a really exciting time for us as kids. The whole house would be like, so when we were younger, the whole house would be fully cleaned. It would be like a proper like wash down, and then all the lights would go up, and it would always be like a lot more open. Like we'd leave the doors open, like it just like a lot more like fresh air was flowing through the house and everything. So it was always just like a new beginning kind of feeling, where like everything that's happened has happened and that's fine. Like just move on. And then obviously like family was a really big like thing, like meeting with all our family friends and like celebrating together. It's just like a time full of love. So yeah, Diwali's always just been a really happy time. And I think in class, when we were going to Balviar class and everything, then we'd learn like the significance of the diya and everything, and like how when you light the lamp, you're like dispelling ignorance, and so you have like those kind of symbolic meanings as well. So yeah, it's been really nice. I've always associated good things with Diwali.
Even for myself, having grown up here, being born in New Zealand, right? So for us, as we were growing up, Diwali wasn't the biggest celebration. It was always Christmas.
Yeah.
And that end of year and transitioning into New Year was like, okay, that's the New Year.
Yeah.
And then I think as we've grown up, you know, like the city now celebrates Diwali as well. We had the festival last week. So it's becoming it's accepted in the workplace. People know about it.
Yeah.
And now I feel like also my family started to celebrate it a lot more as well. You know, like we would always celebrate it, but we would just say Happy Diwali. It wasn't, we wouldn't have an occasion around it or do anything significant, you know. And just last night we had everyone here for dinner, and then like you're saying this morning, you know, you're just opening up the house, letting the energy come in. And so I feel like it's becoming more like not so focused on Christmas, and then now focusing that actually Diwali is our new year.
Yeah. I definitely actually, it's really interesting. Sorry, Ishaanji. I just like speaking on the fact that like it's a bit bigger now. I definitely agree with that. Like I think before it was like very like nuclear families would celebrate, but I think now it's just more like I can like celebrate it at work, and like that's cool.
Diwali
Like
lunch.
they're really excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like when Diwali was coming up, somebody else actually was like, "Oh, Pooja, Diwali's coming up," and I was like, "How do you know that?"
You know that before me.
Yeah. And then he was like, "Can you bring XYZ sweets in, please? Because I really like them." And I was like, "Yeah, of course. I'm more than happy to celebrate with you." So yeah, that's just like really cool to see that like people are so much more aware of it, and like it allows you to like open your culture up to like other people outside of your immediate family too, which makes it even more special, I think.
No, I agree. And I think for me, my experience being a little bit different. I think Diwali back in India used to be a lot bigger
Yeah.
compared to here. And obviously, it's great that our society and community is getting in on it. And I was just talking to someone this morning, and they said that she's a school teacher, and they actually get given a day off to celebrate Diwali
Over here?
over here.
Oh, wow. Oh, I didn't know that.
And this is in Kelston Girls High School.
Whoa.
That's so cool.
So the principals made it
Represent.
mandatory
Yeah.
that all the Indian Hindu staff
Yeah.
would get a day off for Diwali.
Man, I need to head up
It-
my
it-
master.
Change careers, change
Yeah.
jobs. Yeah.
Which is great,
Yeah,
right?
wow.
But at the same time, what also is quite striking for me is the version of Diwali for most people outside the Hindu community is food and Bollywood music.
Yeah.
This is the understanding of Diwali, right? That's not Diwali. There's so much more. In fact, yes, food is part of it, but I don't know where Bollywood fits into
Yeah.
our culture. It's part of it now, and we have to accept that. But I think our understanding should be a lot more deeper, and we should understand the significance of Diwali for each one of us as a Hindu. So that at least we understand what we are celebrating. It's not just another day of just socializing and dancing and eating.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be limited or restricted just to that. So in terms of the significance of Diwali, we always hear about, Ramchandra ji returning to Ayodhya. And the reason why we light the lamps is it's meant to be a new moon night, and then Bhagwan's returning from Lanka. How is he supposed to know where Ayodhya is? So all the city dwellers lit their houses with lamps so that Bhagwan would know that this is here, I have to land. And that's the story format of it. And as Pooja pointed out, there is a greater spiritual significance to it, what the lamp indicates. And that is lighting the lamp of knowledge to dispel ignorance. And interesting enough, what we generally tend to do is we know what the spiritual significance is, but on the day of Diwali, there's no knowledge that is touched.
Yeah, it's
Right?
quite outwardly.
It's outwardly, yes, we
focused.
light lamps
Yeah.
because knowledge has to be there in our life. And this last weekend, we had a class this morning, an Upanishad class. And I told everyone that next Sunday is Diwali, and we're not going to cancel class because it's the festival of lights. And we are actually going to start the day with lighting the lamp of knowledge in our minds. Because knowledge is what's going to protect us. Yes, the lamp signifies knowledge, but if knowledge doesn't come into our lives, then what benefit does it serve? The lamp outside, the light outside, does not dispel the ignorance inside. And the spiritual significance is quite important for our personal development, for our spiritual unfoldment, because it's knowledge alone that will alleviate our sorrows, the right understanding. There is no other way out of it.
So just to look at the how we're so outwardly focused, and that's quite a cultural something that's culturally kind of embedded into us, is that it's about family, and it's about it's quite outwardly focused, and that's how I've kind of grown up with it. So keeping the spiritual significance aside for a second, can we focus on maybe the benefits of having that outward focus at that time? Is there anything that because I think it's really beautiful. I feel a lot of love when you spend that much time with family, and I think you kind of take that time out of your lives to dedicate Diwali is family time, and you will see, and it's always a really nice time to spend with people. So that is also quite a good benefit, right? Like, so it's not like
Absolutely.
we shouldn't do that because we have to
Yeah.
like focus on the inside. Like,
and then even just getting a chance to clean your home and clean the outside of your
Yes,
house.
yeah.
You know, like you don't, through the rest of the year, you're just grinding, you know, and then just taking the time out to be like, okay, wait, this is the one point in the year where actually we'll clean the house out,
Yeah.
we'll do an audit,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So absolutely, it is an important time to spend with family. We connect with everyone around us, and as you said, you know, we get so lost in the grind all year long, just to recalibrate and get our bearings right and pay attention to what's actually important to all of us. But the spiritual significance, should not be lost, and it should not just remain in words. We should be acting upon it. And therefore, in class, we did this beautiful exercise of setting our New Year resolutions, right? The 3 S's.
Yeah.
So we did this exercise with all our youth where I asked them to think about what they would like to achieve spiritually in the next year, and to pen it down in the form of what is your seva going to be, what is your sadhana going to be, what is your swadhyaya study going to be over the next year, and make a commitment to it and offer it at the feet of the Lord and make a promise to Him that this is what I will be doing for the next year. So, you know, to take that time out to remember that this is equally important, if not more important, than the socializing and connecting with family, which is not important. It is quite critical because we are social beings, and family is an integral part of our culture and religion and who we are as Indians, as Hindus. But yes, the spiritual significance cannot be overlooked.
Of course, yes.
I just wanted to also invite the listeners as well, you know, because we've been now recording for quite a long time, and we've got some listeners who are tuning in on the regular as well. And so I think it'd be nice to invite them and put this resolution out to them as well, you know, to think of their 3 S's and think about how then they can turn the new leaf for the new year, new resolution.
Absolutely. So if we want to just break down the 3 S's, if people want to work on their spiritual unfoldment over the next year. So the first S is seva. Seva is service. Service of the wider community. Right? So seva does not consist of I'll help my parents or I'll help my brother and sister. That's my duty. I'm supposed to be doing it anyways. Why are you laughing, Pooja?
You know?
That was my seva. It was like, oh, I'll help my parents.
I'll do some gardening. I'll carry the shopping in.
No, Ishaanji just messaged me. He's like, I read your seva. He's like, that's not seva. Actually. I was like, oh man, okay.
She asked me to review it, therefore I gave some feedback.
What did it say? What was your...
I was like, oh, I'll grocery shop for the house every week. And he was like, you should be doing that anyway. I was like, oh, but I
After
don't.
what we talked about last week, I think she's going to be ordering groceries online. She's not even going to be stepping out. That's definitely not
Which is
safe.
exactly what I did. But yes, no, I've since reviewed and changed it. So my seva is now different.
Yes, coming back to seva. Seva is a commitment that we give to ourselves, where we put aside a certain number of hours per week or per month to help the wider community. It's to help us expand ourselves, to expand our mindset, to learn to include other people and recognize that there are more... Life is more than just thinking about myself or me and my family. There's more to it. We take from so many different avenues. We owe it to them. We should be giving back consciously.
Yeah.
And so your seva can be whether it's giving your service, and it can be in whatever form you like, whether it's helping with gardening or spending some time at the hospital or spending some time at a kids shelter, or teaching kids like we do at Bal Vihar and Shishu Vihar, or for a not-for-profit organization, lending your skills, whether it's running accounts or digital marketing or running their website, whatever it may be, to actively put aside a certain period and say, this is what I will offer to the community as my seva,
Yep.
as my service.
I think we all have gifts and talents, you know, and to keep them for ourselves is quite limiting. You know, I feel like we've acquired them from other people, so therefore should also give them to other people.
Yes. And I think it's really fulfilling as well, just being able to help someone.
Yeah.
Sometimes we see it directly, sometimes we don't. But there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes as well. And just to be a part of something bigger is deeply satisfying. So one is seva. The other is sadhana, a spiritual practice. So whether it's puja, whether it's japa, not this puja, whether it's doing that small ritual worship every morning, or japa, or meditation, or yoga, whatever your preference may be. But to do it on a daily basis, at a fixed time, for a fixed duration, to discipline the mind is our sadhana. And one of the major obstacles on the spiritual path is our mind. We have lots of ideas in our intellect and we know what is right, but we often can't execute it because the mind seems to have a mind of its own. Right? It seems to loot our understanding, kidnap, or hold our understanding for ransom. And it does what it feels like doing. It makes us do what it feels like doing.
Makes you think that you're tired when you're in the bed. You know, when the alarm goes off, you can actually just stand up and get out of bed. But, you know, it'll just...
If it was getting out for a particular game...
Oh, yeah.
Or going for a holiday.
I was just going to say, like, if
the
I had
mind
a
would be
flight,
up at 3 o'clock. It probably wouldn't even sleep that night.
Yeah.
So it's definitely that it's not that we are tired. It's just the mind doesn't feel like doing it and therefore it comes up with excuses.
That's right.
And it's equally important in the secular world outside that the mind cooperates with whatever endeavors or the goals that we've set it with. It's equally important on the spiritual path that the mind is with us, is supporting our endeavors. It's not working against us. And the third is swadhyaya, daily study of scriptures, whether it's reading the lives of saints and sages or reading the Ramayana or the Mahabharata or studying the Bhagavad Gita. It does not matter as long as new ideas, a new way of thinking is being learned. I'm exposing my intellect to a better way of doing things. And that intellect will start guiding my mind down the track. So it's not that I control my mind, I bring my mind under control, but the intellect does not know in which direction to go or apply the efforts. The intellect also needs to be educated and the mind tamed. And so swadhyaya and sadhana, they both go together and should be done on a daily basis. And so if we can set ourselves with this, and with most resolutions, they last for a few weeks before we give them up. At least we can start with having some positive spiritual resolutions. And I guess we see how long we can pursue them. But, Chinmay Mission is available to help with all of this, to give us that weekly shot of enthusiasm to continue doing our sadhana, to continue doing our swadhyaya, and to do it as a group of like-minded individuals.
I think just on sadhana as well as doing it, but also knowing to direct it towards something higher. Because you touched on yoga, and then a couple episodes back, we talked about yoga.
Yes.
And it's not just attending a class or just doing the actions. It's actually knowing why you're doing it and where you're directing it. And then I think also for
Swadhyaya.
is taking it day by day.
Yes.
If you think about, I'm going to do it for a week or for a month or for a year, that can seem like
A bit too much.
it's full on.
Yeah.
But if you just take it day by day, and it's not that, like, the ideal goal is to stay on track and do it every day. But it's, if you miss a day, it's not that you fully give up.
Yeah. Just get back
You
on
don't
it.
stop.
It's okay.
You know,
Yeah.
like, it's okay. Like, if you miss one day, just that's when you go back and you reevaluate why you didn't make the day, and then rearrange the priorities to make sure you get there the next day.
Yeah. And in the beginning, you just simply forget because you're not used
It's
to
not
it.
natural.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Just get back on it. Don't give it up.
Yeah.
And obviously, that happens once you recognize how valuable this is. Yeah.
But I think, from when you're starting it, just take it a day at a time.
Yeah.
Bite chunks.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just be like, oh, I failed. And then just be like, oh, I'm not going to try again. Yeah.
But if you find the value in it, understand the value in it first. And
You
then,
just keep chasing it.
yeah.
As you should. Yeah.
Yeah. And coming back to this idea of lighting the lamp within, it is this swadhyaya is lighting the lamp, right? Where the intellect becomes the torchbearer. It is the one that sheds light upon how I look at the world, how I perceive it, how I interpret the world. I can take a situation as a calamity or as a challenge or as an opportunity for growth. It will all depend on how I view the situation, how my intellect interprets it. And therefore, to be able to get this guidance from scriptures and realized masters of how to best view the world is swadhyaya. It's lighting that lamp of knowledge within, which stops us from misinterpreting things. And generally, what happens in darkness is you don't know what's happening and the mind starts projecting.
It's like seeing the rope and mistaking it
Yes,
for
the
a
snake and the rope
Yeah.
example, right?
Yeah.
Classic.
So, there's something there, but you don't know what exactly it is, and the mind starts projecting in the absence of a good source of light, right? And that knowledge is that source of light which will act as a torch, shed light on the situation, and stop us from misinterpreting the situation and going down a rabbit hole which could have been completely avoided. And I don't know if I can emphasize enough how important this aspect of spirituality is, of study of scriptures. And by study, we don't mean just read them, but actually reflect and think about them and see how to integrate it into our daily lives. That reflection has to happen. So, and it need not be something big. I don't have to read chapters at a time. Even if I read a paragraph or two, and just try and extract what the teacher or the scripture is trying to say and think about it.
I think from there also forms inquiry as well.
Yeah.
And then that's where then you go and find someone to help you understand.
Yeah.
And then that broadens and opens the mind up as well.
Yeah. Yes, it creates the space for questioning and thinking more deeply, because a lot of these ideas are quite foreign to us and we feel, how does this make sense, or how do I apply this, or if this is the implication of this idea, it's in contradiction to what I do things today, how do I align the two? And so many questions arise from it. And it allows us to, if the avenue is there, to think deeper and resolve all those questions, and thereby gaining clarity and conviction that, yes, this is the way to do things, rather than sticking to what I know. If I do what I've always done, I'll get what I've always got. Right? So learning new ways of doing things is quite important. And knowledge is that source.
Pooja, anything more to add?
No, I think it's just really nice to like have those three things to kind of work towards and kind of set those goals for yourself. Yeah, I think it's like a good first step for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I'd really encourage our listeners to take some time to reflect and think
about these three: seva, sadhana, and swadhyaya.
And if you would like Ishaanji to review as well, you know, I'm saying on his behalf, but you know, it's nice to know that we have a guide here to help us and, you know, like review. For all we know, Pooja could be living a very easy life.
Sometimes we get it wrong.
But not, you know, and then not growing to be the best that you can be.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what the key thing is here.
Yeah.
So,
and at the end of the day, you know, we are all seekers on this path. You know, it's not that I'm someone very different. We are all seekers on this path, helping each other to the best of our abilities to be the best person we can, to realize our true potential and tap into that inner happiness, which is inherent to all of us. We just seem to be missing it, and therefore stuck in this mad chase for objects and things and situations outside. It need not be that way. Yeah.
nice. Thank you so much, Pooja. Thank you so much, Ishaanji.
Thank you so much, and wishing everyone a very happy Diwali once
Happy
again.
Diwali.
Happy Diwali.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Thinking is Free, proudly brought to you by Chinmaya Mission New Zealand. For more information on events, courses, Seva projects and study groups, please visit chinmaya.org.nz. Hari Om.